And for more, we have political analyst Courtney Donovan-Smith, who's joining us live from Taipei. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast, Mr. Smith.
Well, it's great to be here.
Now, I'll begin with my first question. Now, high-stakes presidential election, which is mostly closely watched, and since its first in 1996 amid existential threat of China. Now, would you agree it's a choice between democracy and autocracy? And what do we expect this time?
Well, it's being framed that way, and I think that none of the candidates actually would say that they are going to, reimpose autocracy. But the question is will Taiwan remain autonomous from China? And all of the candidates have talked strong on national defense and maintaining Taiwan's autonomy. So none of the candidates disagree on that fundamental principle. But the question is how much to integrate with or to not integrate with China. So, for example, the KMT, or the Kuomintang candidate, and the Taiwan People's Party candidate, these are Hou Yu-ih and Ke Wen-je, both have talked about restarting the Cross-Strait Services Pact, which would allow much Chinese investment within the private sector, which would possibly allow a greater involvement by the Chinese side into key segments of Taiwan's in industry, business, and infrastructure. On the other hand, the Democratic Progressive Party is saying that no, they do not want to have a cross-strait services pact. They don't want to integrate further economically with China and want to retain some distance and keep some how do you say it? It's keep some distance and some autonomy away from economic integration.
Mr. Smith, speaking of China's imprint on the election day, we are already seeing China's imprint on the election day, from influencing social media platforms to detection of new balloons. How are the voters looking at China's role here?
Well, I mean, these pressure tactics have been consistent and they've been going on for a long time. So there's some voters, I think, are influenced by this, but a lot of voters, I think, are a little bit jaded at this point. And something that I think outsiders don't remember is that Taiwan has been basically under threat from China since the late 1940s or early 1950s. So there is always a lot of press tension when the escalation increases, but there has been waves of heavier pressure and lower pressure going on now for about 70 years.
Yes, it's also a topic, like you mentioned, that the Taiwanese are now actually tired of thinking and talking about. But if we were to talk about other concerns for the voters, is the question of China dominating all other concerns of the voters?
Well, it is and it isn't. It is in the sense that it always does. I mean, the identity of the two primary legacy parties here in Taiwan is about the identity of the people here, meaning the Democratic Progressive Party. Democratic Progressive Party talks about how they are primarily based on the identity and sovereignty and the idea of Taiwanese being a separate people, whereas the Kuomintang has an identity based on whether or not Taiwanese are part of the greater Chinese, the greater Chinese entity. Now, the Taiwan People's Party says they want to attack or deal with all these issues in a very pragmatic manner. Now, the last two elections were one almost entirely devoted to issues related to China. In this election, I think that China plays a major role, but some domestic issues have also cropped up. The declining demographics, unaffordable housing, and it's very difficult for young people to get well-paid jobs. These are issues that have also played a role.
So apart from China's threat that looms over Taipei, according to you, there are domestic issues right now as well, which are posing themselves as challenges. But thank you so much, Mr. Smith, for joining us and giving us all your insights. Thank you for joining in.
Oh, thank you very much.